Monsters. The new status quo was a world overrun by monsters. Monsters that did not come from foreign shores or other worlds, but monsters that arose from within us all. Fear, suspicion, paranoia, and above all, violence. These are all words that could be used to describe the early days of the variant crisis. With militaries and law enforcement organizations severely overwhelmed, society found itself in a near-terminal state of disarray. Neighbor turned against neighbor, brother turned against brother. Society ate itself alive. And only at the height of its cannibalistic gluttony did the real nightmares present themselves. December 2026. From the depths of the night, monsters, previously thought to be legends and myths spawned by the occult, emerged. Witches, warlocks, vampires, werewolves, they were all real. And they sought to make it known. Viewing the chaos devouring the overworld as an opportunity, the denizens of supernatural communities across the planet utilized savage means to reconquer lands which they deemed significant, forming their own settlements, such as Shadowstone in Wyoming and Tyran in Europe. The nations of the world, already well past their breaking point, could not afford to fight a war on two fronts. In order to appease the supernaturals and halt their expansion, affected governments would often begrudgingly elect to grant sovereignty to the newly formed settlements. It is often believed that the surfacing of supernaturals was the last straw for the leaders of world powers. That they believed that they needed to act in order to restore peace and security. However, it is just as likely that, in their quest for power, they became the truest, most nefarious monsters of all. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. John Emmerich Edward Redacted. February 2027. In the face of both the variant crisis and supernatural threats, the political elite of planet Earth would mobilize. Through political strong-arming, often including threats of violence, the United States, a consolidated European Union, Russia, and China declared themselves the United Nations Conservatorial Council, or UNCC. The UNCC would use their new position to expand the influence of the United Nations, allowing it nigh global authority, as well as the ability to form two divisions. The Supernatural Hunters and Recidivistic Detainers Division, also known as SHARD, was the first division created by the UNCC. As its name suggests, this division was created with the purpose of policing the interactions of supernatural entities with non-supernaturals. Largely hidden from the public eye, agents of the SHARD division sought out to protect humanity and shield them from whatever would go bump in the night. The second division was marketed to the public as an organization with the purpose of researching and apprehending dangerous variant humans. A mission that was not very hard to sell at the time. However, the real purpose of this division could be described in much simpler terms. It was created to wage total war on variants. This division was called Sector V, and war it would wage. Answering only to the highest of officials within the UNCC, Sector V was given the power and the jurisdiction to throw humanity to the wind, to terminate variants wherever they may appear, to use their bodies and corpses for science, and to scorch the earth beneath them when the job was done. However, the dubious transparency of Sector V would indeed come into question. Within months of its conception, the brother of investigative journalist, Redacted, would become a variant. Although he was not largely dangerous, he could still be considered belligerent, and as such he was captured by Sector V. However, When questioned about his state and whereabouts, the journalist was fed a series of blatantly obvious lies and encouraged to cease her inquiries. As a result, she set her sights on the brutal truth of what occurred behind closed doors within the division. In an exposé that garnered worldwide attention, Redacted would bring to light Sector V's practices of inhumane violence and torturous experimentation on still living variant humans, including her brother. In order to staunch public uproar, the UNCC court-martialed and removed many of the presiding higher-ups within Sector V. Sadly, despite being only 28 years of age and having a clean medical history, Redacted would pass away in 2028 due to congestive heart failure. While the UNCC made public promises to reform the methods of operation within Sector V, there was very little anyone could do to enforce such oaths, a fact which was known and largely recognized by the public. And so, while the division was able to maintain its power, its reputation would struggle to recover. Until the organization was blessed by what can only be described as a stroke of providence.